Fame and Fortune Weekly, Stories of Boys Who Make Money. Number 13, New York, December 29th, 1905. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Baiting the Bears, or The Nerviest Boy in Wall Street, by a Self-Made Man. Recording by Keith Salis. Chapter 1. Phil Thorne makes application for a new position.
"You're discharged."
"Sir?"
"I said you were discharged. Do you understand?"
said Broker Morris Rowland sharply to Phil Thorne, the youngest clerk in his office, as he swung around in his chair in his private office and glared at the boy. "Yes, sir," replied the bright-faced lad, rather startled at the abruptness of his dismissal.
"Very well, then, you can go."
"Why am I discharged?"
"Because I don't want you any more."
"That's a pretty good reason."
"It's good enough for me. You can get your week's wages from the cashier."
"Haven't I performed my duties properly, sir?"
"I don't propose to argue the matter with you. I want you to go."
"I suppose I can refer to you if necessary, sir, can't I?"
"No, you can't,"
snapped the broker ungraciously, turning to his desk. "All right, sir. Good day, Mr. Rowland." The broker made no answer, and Phil Thorne walked out of the private room to which he had been summoned a few minutes before and up to the cashier's window. "I'll take my wages for the week, Mr. Pratt, if you please," he said politely. Why, how's this?" exclaimed the cashier in a tone of surprise. "Tomorrow is payday." "Not for me. Mr. Rowland has given me the G.P." "You don't mean to say he has really discharged you?" almost gasped the cashier, for Phil was looked upon as a good, faithful clerk, and was a favorite in the business office. "That's what I mean. Why have you been discharged?" "Ask me something easier, Mr. Pratt. He wouldn't give me a reason." "That's funny. It might look so to you, but it isn't to me." Well, it's rather sudden." "I should say it was," answered the boy as he accepted the money, signed the usual receipt, and put the bills in his vest pocket. "What are you going to do?" "Look for another job." "In Wall Street?" "Of course." "Well, I wish you luck. I'm very sorry you have to go." "Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Goodbye, sir." "Goodbye, Thorne." The other clerks were very much surprised when Phil Thorne went among them after putting on his hat and overcoat and said goodbye. They all wanted to know the reason for his sudden dismissal, but the boy couldn't enlighten them on the subject. "The cashier told me you were fired, Phil," said his friend Dick Ovens, the messenger, when Thorne entered the reception room where he was seated. "He told you the truth. I'm bound for fair." "Too bad," said Dick in a tone of commiseration. "But I was afraid you would be." "Why?" asked Phil in surprise. "Didn't the old man tell you?" "He did not. And you can't guess why." "Haven't the remotest idea." "Then I'll let in a little light on the subject," lowering his voice. "This morning you and I were talking about how the boss got caught yesterday in B&O, remember?" "Sure." "You said it was a mean deal, that any kid could have known better than have bought B&O at 90, that if you couldn't do better than that with your eyes shut, you'd go down to the Battery and hire somebody to kick you in the bay." "Yes, I said so, and I meant it, too." "Well, Rowland heard you say it." "He did?" "You must be dreaming. Why, he never comes into the office till 9:30 or later." "That's right. But all the same, he was the first one in the place this morning. He was in his private office when we were talking out here, and he heard every word." "How do you know he did?" asked Phil, rather taken aback at this revelation. "How do I know? 'Cause shortly after you went to your desk, he came out into the reception room looking as red as a boiled lobster and as mad as a hornet. Gee, I nearly dropped when I saw him. I intended to tell you before, but didn't get the chance." "Well, it can't be helped now," said Phil ruefully, for he realized where he had put his foot in it. "I'm sorry for Mother's sake that I've lost my position, but I guess I can get another. I guess you won't be out long. Perhaps I can give you a tip. I wish you would if you know of anything." "Well, I heard today that Lawrence Lockwood, banker and broker at number 34 Wall Street, wants a good clerk. Why not go over now and see him?" "I will," said Phil with alacrity. "The trouble will be as to the reference." "Won't the old man stand for one?" "He said not." "That's rough. It's mean to turn a fellow down as short as that." "That's what I think," said Phil, "and I shan't forget it. One of these days Mr. Rowland may be sorry he was so stiff with me." "Well, drop into the house tonight," said Dick. "Let me know if you caught on, will you?" "Sure. Goodbye." and Phil passed out into the corridor and thence to the street. It was 2:00, and Wall and Broad Streets were full of life. As Phil was about to cross the street, an elderly gentleman with a chin beard and spectacles stepped on a banana peel on the edge of the curb and went down heavily on the flagging, within a yard of the boy. Phil hastened to his assistance. "I trust you're not hurt, sir," he said politely. "I don't know," replied the gentleman with a slight groan. "I had a bad fall. I'm afraid I've wrenched my back." "If there's anything I can do for you," began Phil. "My office is right across the street. If you wouldn't mind assisting me there, I shall esteem it a favor." "Certainly, sir. Lean on me." Of course, a number of passers-by and several bootblacks had been attracted by the accident, but none of them did more than watch the boy help the gentleman across the street. "My name is Lockwood," said the gentleman when they arrived on the other side. "My office is on the second floor of number 34 Wall." "Lawrence Lockwood!" exclaimed Phil in some surprise. "Yes, you know me by sight, probably, as I do not remember to have seen you before." "No, sir. This is the first time I ever saw you, but I was on my way to call on you." "Indeed," answered the banker. "Then it is fortunate you came along just as you did. We'll go in here, if you please. I think I feel a little better and able to walk alone. I am very much obliged to you, young man." They went up the elevator. Then Mr. Lockwood entered a door marked Private on the frosted glass, and was followed by Phil, whom the banker motioned to his seat. "I shouldn't care for an experience of this sort very often," said Mr. Lawrence as he took his seat at his elegant desk. "I might easily have broken a limb or otherwise injured myself severely. Well now, what can I do for you?" "I'm not sure that you can do anything for me, sir," commenced Phil, "but the object of my call is employment. I heard you needed a clerk, and as I am just out of a position, I thought if such was really the case I'd make application for the situation." Mr. Lockwood looked a bit surprised. "It is true I do require a clerk to fill a space made vacant by the death of the incumbent," said the banker, regarding the boy with critical interest. "What is your name, may I ask?" "Philip Thorne." "What are your qualifications, and where were you last employed?" Phil at once entered into the necessary details. "I have been working for Morris Rowland," he said, after telling Mr. Lockwood what he was accustomed to do and the extent of his experience in Wall Street. "I was discharged half an hour ago," he added very frankly. "I am afraid you will think that a poor recommendation," he continued with a slight smile, "but I really don't think I was justly treated. Mr. Rowland refused me a reason for his action or a recommendation. Afterward I learned that the presumed reason was certain indiscreet remarks I made in the reception room this morning, and which Mr. Rowland is supposed to have overheard. I will tell you what I said." And Phil did so. Mr. Lockwood was impressed with the boy's candor, as well as his intelligent and alert countenance. Besides, he was really anxious to make some return for the slight obligation he was under to Phil. "I will consider your application for the position and communicate with your late employer. It does not follow that his refusal to recommend you will influence my decision. If you have proved yourself a reliable and industrious clerk in his office, he cannot very well deny the fact. If you will call tomorrow morning at 10, I will let you know my decision in the matter." "Thank you, sir," said Phil, rising. "If you employ me, you will not regret it." "I hope not. I am bound to say I rather like your face. It impresses me as a thoroughly honest one. At any rate, you have proved yourself a good Samaritan to me in my moment of need, and I shall certainly give you the benefit of any doubt." "Thank you, Mr. Lockwood. Good afternoon." "Good afternoon, Mr. Thorne." End of chapter 1.